What's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and it is draft day here in this 32 user online franchise. We call it Ball Star, and here we go. We're not going to waste any time getting into this draft. So you can see the first guys that are going off the board, mainly the top guys. Jalen Ramsey went, I believe, first overall. You can see Aaron Donald went off the board. Even Darius Slay went, and Odell Beckham goes a couple of picks before us. We actually ended up with pick 16. So not a bad pick because this is a snake draft. So that means that if you pick, you're going to be at the end of the next round depending on where your pick is flipped. So if you pick 31, you're picking second the next round. If you pick 10, you're picking like 20 something the next round. So you got to be wise with these choices. And with the first pick, look who dropped to us. We said we were gonna go after him. Von Miller. He is a superstar trait, 99 overall. Hard to pass on him. The only guy I was really considering there was Luke Kuechly, but I just decided that pass rush impacts a game a lot more because you can set them up with bad field position. So going on to the second round, you can see the picks that are coming off the board. Julio actually drops to the second round, and that was pretty surprising to me. But we did have a couple of choices here. We either had a chance to go after the Honey Badger, Brandon Graham, Everson Griffin, but we actually decided to settle on Micah Hyde, mainly because he has that 95 play recognition, 95 awareness, 92 zone, 89 man. I mean, he's just a coverage demon. So we have our first two picks, first out on defense, and we can see, look at who's going off the board. A lot of offense in a row. So, you know, our strategy here kind of changes because we're like, well, since this offense is going off the board, we might as well just double down on defense. So you see Michael Thomas comes off the board, Alvin Kamara comes off the board. I mean, all these offensive guys start to come off the board. So we're still thinking defense. And, you know, you can see all the linebackers. We're thinking about middle linebackers, thinking about left outside linebackers, but it was too hard to resist. Bradley Chubb, and there's a good reason why, because it's not just because he's a Bronco, but he's star development trait, 22 years old. I mean, there's a chance that after half this season, he's going to be in the mid 80s overall. So it's nice to have a young guy you can develop there, and having him across from Von Miller is definitely going to help both of them. They're going to feed off of each other. So we actually do kind of make a hometown pick with the next one. We go with Chris Harris, but the next pick, I could not resist seeing Chandler Jones, Bradley Chubb, and Von Miller rushing the passer. This is going to be such a dynamic duo because I'm going to have a lot of fun just sending different blitzes and seeing what I can do. So I definitely start thinking about offense here, and you know, a lot of offensive guys are coming off the board, but you see all the receivers that are available. We also looked at a guy, we didn't look at Dez Bryant this early, but we decided to keep our eye on him throughout the draft, but we ended up missing on him. So we decided to go another corner. We started to go with Artie Burns, and he's a young corner, 23 years old, man-to-man. What I like most about him is that he can play man and zone, and he's 23 years old at quick development. So I like that I can develop him pretty nicely. So in the next pick, we decide to go after middle linebacker, and I decided to go after Shaquem Griffin. We had a little battle. I don't know if I was going to go with Shaquem Griffin, if I was going to go with Raekwon McMillan. Raekwon McMillan is actually a really good linebacker, but Shaquem Griffin, it's too hard to ignore the 91 speed. I mean, that is going to be fun to user, and we'll see how he develops. He is quick development too, so it is going to be nice. So the next few picks, I decided to pretty much go lineman because you do need an O-line. So it's funny, our first offensive pick is an offensive lineman. So you can see the players still on the board. Julian Edelman's there. Larry Fitzgerald was still there. LaShawn McCoy is actually there too. Deion Lewis, Jay Ajayi. All these guys are still on the board. So we decided to go offense. And one guy that you guys wanted me to select was Ronald Jones II. Rojo out of USC, South California. And we decided to get him because he is a star trait. Once again, if you get these star trait young guys, they develop like no other. Like if I were to go after Saquon Barkley, which he did go within the first 15 picks, I just didn't show it. But Saquon Barkley is probably going to be like 90 something overall after the first season, no doubt about it. And it's nice to have some young guys to develop. And speaking of young guys to develop, Budda Baker, actually, I feel like his rating was kind of disrespected in this game. You can see I'm choosing Budda Baker and Courtland Sutton back to back. I need some offense, but Budda Baker, 79 overall, he was first team All-Pro. How do you go from first team All-Pro to 79 overall? It just doesn't make any sense. So I decided to select him. He is quick development, and he can develop on the back end of our defense. So we decide to actually start going after receivers here because we had Courtland Sutton. We drafted him, but who we definitely decided to settle on was Curtis Samuel from the Carolina Panthers, and there's good reason why. That 95 speed, you need somebody who can run. He can play everywhere. I'm going to line him up on the outside in the slot. I don't exactly know what my plans are for him, and that's what makes it fun. I can line him up anywhere. So we definitely decide to go back to defense because this is where it starts getting interesting. This is like the middle rounds where you just start, you're not filling out your team yet, but you're at least trying to add some guys for depth, add some sneaky picks in there, maybe even get some trade bait. So you can see I'm starting to get some guys who just fit who can just fit in anywhere. We get James White as a backup running back, we get Julius Thomas as a tight end, and we end up settling in on Swag Kelly. And if you've been paying attention to preseason, especially if you're a Broncos fan, you know how bad Paxton Lynch is. I mean, that guy, he just can't play. And the guy that emerged as the Broncos backup, Chad Kelly, he's been killing it. And I'm looking forward to developing him. Last Madden, I actually did have Chad Kelly, but I got him in like the 3rd season, so it wasn't as fun. I didn't get a lot of time to develop him, but this time I'm gonna get to develop him. He starts in the 68 overall range, but you know, if I can get his scheme fit up, get him developing, I can turn him into something. So you can see our offense and defense out here in practice, and I just want to get a quick glimpse of what this team is going to look like. I didn't have much time to practice here. This was like really late at night. This draft probably took 6.5, 7 hours, so it was pretty long. We didn't even go the full. We didn't go the full 53-man draft. Go all those rounds. I mean, that's too much. But we did end up going about 30 rounds. We got pretty much every starter, and we got a little bit of depth picks in. And I just wanted to see what we look like in practice. This is a totally different type of team that I usually go with. I usually try to go with kind of a mix of veterans and young guys on offense, but on offense, I went totally young. I have a rookie. I essentially have a rookie quarterback. I have a rookie running back. I have a rookie receiver as a number 1. I have a second-year receiver as a number 2, and then Pierre Garçon is the one veteran on offense. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge because I'm going to have to develop these guys pretty nicely, and hopefully they turn into something. But on defense, I do have a lot of veteran leadership there and a lot of skill there. So I'm definitely going to be leaning on our defense, especially with the young pass rushers as well. So looking at the depth chart, this is what it's going to look like to start the season. And remember, this is an online franchise, 32 users. There will likely be a lot of trades, a lot of trade offers, a lot of even small ones just to add depth, depending on how I play and how my team looks during game time. I'm definitely going to be making changes. So you can see here at receiver, here's what it's going to look like. Courtland Sutton's going to be the starter at number 1. Curtis Samuel's going to be number 2. And Pierre Garçon is actually going to be the number 3. And that's for a reason, because when I do have 3 receiver sets in, I do have Courtland Sutton lined up in the slot. So that puts Pierre Garçon on the outside. So we did actually pick up a pretty good late round receiver. Josh Reynolds, he's actually pretty good. I mean, he's got the size, he's got decent speed, he's got high spectacular catch at 89, just like Courtland Sutton. So he's another receiver I can develop. Then we ended up getting Trey Quinn from our Redskins franchise. I liked what I saw from him. I picked him up undrafted, so I liked what I saw from him. So he's kind of a depth receiver. I don't think I'm going to make any big moves for receiver. I kind of want to just develop these young guys. Maybe if Demaryius Thomas becomes available in trade, maybe I'll go after him, but I don't know right now. I think I kind of like this because Pierre Garçon has 96 catching. I think that's going to be super valuable. And remember the regression system in this Madden, starting from last Madden, it's changed a little bit. Receivers, cornerbacks, and running backs do not regress below 90 speed. So if they're 89 speed, that's the lowest it's going to get. And if they're 90 speed, that's the lowest it's going to get. So looking at our pass rush, this is what it's going to look like. Derek Barnett is going to be our left end. He's a second-year player, and he plays for the Eagles in real life, and I think he's kind of the forgotten lineman, like I said, but it's going to be fun. Derek Barnett, Chandler Jones, Bradley Chubb, and Von Miller. I mean, good luck. But we did end up picking a little bit of a development here. Development guy, Arden Key. He's a rookie out of LSU, 6'6". He's got size. He's got raw ability. I think I can develop him pretty nicely just through weekly training, just getting that XP in. We didn't end up getting a good D tackle here, so we're actually going to move up Coney Ealy, who we actually drafted as well, and he's going to start at defensive tackle. So, you know, the thing about having Coney Ealy and Derek Barnett is that if it did come down to where we did need to make a trade, one of those two guys, they're pretty valuable because they're young guys. They're in the, you know, low 80s overall. They're going to be there. Coney Ealy right now is only 78, but Derek Barnett is 80 with quick development. But it's going to be pretty nice in trades to see guys that are young and that are pretty good right away. So looking at middle linebacker, Shaquem Griffin is going to start, but we end up getting Oren Burks, and Oren Burks is interesting. So he's at 86 speed middle linebacker. He plays for the Packers in real life. You're going to hear his name a lot this year if you're a Packers fan, especially since he's kind of a guy, man. He's got a high motor. I mean, I was watching him in preseason. He's got a really high motor. I liked what I saw, so I decided to just take him. He is low overall, so he's definitely a development guy, but I think I can kind of develop him and hide him in this defense with his pass rush because I do have a good secondary in my opinion. Chris Harris is going to be the number 1, Artie Burns at number 2, Mike Hughes at number 3, and Mike Hughes actually is pretty good. He's got 81 man, 81 zone, I think, and he's quick development and a rookie. I mean, he's going to be pretty good. I think he's going to develop pretty nicely. So moving over to free safety, we do have Micah Hyde at free safety, and I might even move him to slot corner in some certain situations. We'll see. I do want to have him on the back end too because he has good zone coverage, so I can do a lot with this defense. And then looking at strong safety, I do have Budda Baker and Ron Parker there. Budda Baker is going to be the backup right now, but it's because I'm going to use him as the sub middle linebacker, the sub linebacker. He's going to be in on nickel packages in the middle of the field, so I like that idea. And then Tua Cravens is there for depth. He's probably going to back up pretty much every linebacker position because he probably won't get in too much at safety. I like Ron Parker. He's got good speed. I need to see him in the game, though. I'm not too high on him, but I know he's a really good safety. So I do end up picking up Philip Lindsay, undrafted. He's going to return kicks. Curtis Samuel is going to back him up because I don't want to get him injured. And as we move over to the specialty positions, first let's look at our kicker here. So we end up picking up Caleb Sturgis and Edwards as our punter for third down running back, and basically the running back out of the shotgun. James White is going to man that position at power running back. Ronald Jones is going to be there, but he's not much of a power running back. I think I might need to make a trade for a power running back, maybe get some type of rookie with power, because I don't know about having Ronald Jones as a power back. He doesn't really run guys over, and running guys over is kind of valuable in this game because running the ball is pretty tough versus users. So you need to have a guy that could just fight for some short yardage in situations like that where you need it. So we might want to make a trade there. So you can see our pass rush D tackle. We're actually going to move Chandler Jones. I mean, that's just going to be, it's going to be crazy to send all of them off the edge. And then our sub-middle linebacker, like I said, is going to be Budda Baker, and then also Sua Cravens is going to help out there when needed. So that's going to do it for this episode. Tell me what you guys think of this team. Like I said, I wanted to go for some youth. I want to develop some guys, and especially on the offense, it's going to be fun. I mean, are there any guys that you think I should maybe trade for? I don't. Just remember, these are users that are in this league. It's hard to negotiate a lot of times because once they see you want a guy, they're going to tell you to send the house. And that's kind of the theme of making trades with other users. So let me know what you guys think. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. We'll be back for the first game going up against the Seahawks, so you don't want to miss it. So stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.